Hello, I'm Firus. We're still in chapter 1 and today I will talk about the topic of writing chemical formula of an ionic compound. These are the learning objectives for this topic. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to identify the positive and negative ions in an ionic compound. Second, you need to be able to determine the charges of ions using the periodic table and the list of common polyatomic ions. And the third one, you need to know how to write a correct chemical formulas of ionic compounds by balancing the charges of the ions. In chemistry, an element symbol usually refers to the one or two letter abbreviation for a chemical element, and the symbol can be referred from the periodic table. For example, for copper, the symbol is Cu. For hydrogen, the symbol is H. For helium, the symbol is He. For magnesium, the symbol is Mg. A chemical formula is defined as a collection of chemical symbols that is used to show the elements present in any compound and its proportion. For example, when sodium reacts with chlorine, the formula would be NaCl, showing that there will be one sodium atom combining with one chloride ion. Another example is for H2SO4, which is the chemical formula for sulfuric acid. So in the chemical formula, we can see that there are two hydrogens react with one sulfur and four oxygen atoms combining to form a sulfuric acid molecules. Next, you need to know what is ionic compound. Ionic compounds usually form when a metal reacts with a non-metal. In the reaction between the metal and non-metal, usually the metal will lose the electron to complete the octet, while the non-metals will gain or accept the electron to complete the octet too. An example here is for lithium. So lithium is in group 1. It has one valence electron. To become stable, it will donate the one valence electron it has. While fluorine has 7 valence electrons, and to become stable, it needs another 1 electron, so it will gain 1 electron to complete the octet. Before we go further on writing the chemical formula for ionic compound, firstly you need to know what is the charge of the ion. The tips is you need to know where it is located in the group of the periodic table. For example, for group 1, all group 1 has one valence electron. Since that, when it donates electron, it will has a positive 1 charge. So all elements in group 1 has a positive 1 charge when they become ion. For group 2, they has 2 valence electrons, and when they donate the 2 electrons, the charge will be positive 2. For group 13, we focus only for aluminium. Aluminium is a metal and it has 3 valence electrons, and when it turns into ion, it will donate the 3 valence electron and becomes a positive 3 charge of ion. For group 17, they have 7 valence electron, meaning they need another 1 electron to become stable, and when they accept that 1 electron, the charge would be negative 1. For group 16, it has 6 valence electrons. When they gain electrons, they will accept 2, hence the charge for elements in group 6, when it turns into ion, the charge of the ions will be negative 2. And for group 15, they will accept 3 electrons, hence the charge will be negative 3. To summarize, these are the charges of the ions in the main groups in the periodic table. So from lithium to cesium, positive 1, magnesium until barium, positive 2. In group 3, the metal is aluminium. The charge is positive 3. And these are the charges for the anions. So please remember that, how to determine the charge of the ions from the main groups. Next, you also need to know what are the common polyatomic ions, and you need to know the name, the chemical formula with the charge of the ions. For example, for ammonium, the chemical formula is NH4 and the charge is positive 1. For hydroxide, the formula is OH and the charge is negative 1. For nitrate, the formula is NO3 and the charge is -1. Cyanide, the formula is Cn and the charge is -1. So please try to remember some of these common polyatomic ions with their charges. After we already know what is the charge of the ions, then we can write the chemical formula for the compound. So the first step, you need to identify which one is the cation and which one is the anion. Usually we will write the cation before the anion. And then you need to balance the charges by adjusting the subscript so that the overall charge of the compound would be 0. Okay, for example, we have aluminium and oxygen. So you need to know the charge for each. Aluminium has a +3 ion and oxygen has a -2 ion. So we will write the cation first and then the anion. Then you need to balance the charges by adjusting the subscript so that the overall charge of the compound is 0. So you need to bring it to the opposite side. So the 3 will be bring as the subscript for oxygen, and charges of 2 from oxygen will be bring to the opposite side as the subscript for aluminium. So for aluminium oxide, the chemical formula is Al2O3. Second example is for magnesium oxide. So magnesium is the cation with a charge of +2, while oxygen is an anion with a -2 charge. So when we balance the charges between the two elements, we will bring it to the opposite side. However, for this case, since the charge is the same, which is 2, so we can cancel them out, and instead of writing Mg2O2, we can just write MgO. So that is the basic steps on how to write a chemical formula for ionic compound. To check your understanding, you can try this exercise by writing the chemical formula for the formation of molecule between the elements below. So there are 6 questions. You can try these questions. And that's the end for this video. I hope you understand with what we have learned. Alright, thank you.